In 1839, one of the most powerful empires on Earth was being quietly poisoned from the inside. Not by invading armies, not by rebellion, but by a trade product carried through dark coastal waters inside wooden crates stamped with foreign company seals. In the crowded ports of southern China, silver was disappearing, addiction was spreading, and an empire that had once believed itself untouchable was beginning to lose control. At the time, the Qing Dynasty ruled over hundreds of millions of people. Its cities were enormous, its bureaucracy stretched across vast territories, and its economy had made China one of the richest regions in the world. European merchants desperately wanted Chinese tea, silk, and porcelain, but China wanted very little in return. Silver flowed into the empire for decades, creating a trade imbalance that frustrated Britain more every year. Then the British found a solution. In British-controlled India, vast fields of opium poppies were cultivated under colonial supervision. The drug was processed into dense black bricks and smuggled into China through hidden trade networks. Officially, opium imports were illegal. In reality, corruption allowed the system to flourish. Smugglers bribed local officials, merchants made fortunes, and addiction spread through every level of society. The effects became impossible to ignore. Laborers wasted away inside smoke-filled dens. Soldiers became unreliable. Government officials sold their authority for bribes connected to the trade. Worst of all for the Qing government, silver began flowing out of China at a terrifying rate as millions paid for imported opium. The economic foundation of the empire was slowly weakening. By the late 1830s, the Daoguang emperor realized the crisis was becoming catastrophic. He appointed an official named Lin Zexu to destroy the opium trade once and for all. Lin arrived in the southern port city of Canton with sweeping powers and absolute determination. Foreign merchants were placed under pressure, warehouses were seized, and over 20,000 chests of opium were confiscated from British traders. Then Lin made a decision that shocked the world. Near the coastline outside Canton, Chinese workers destroyed the confiscated opium by mixing it with lime and salt water before dumping it into the sea. It was one of the largest drug destructions in history. For Britain's merchants, it represented a massive financial loss. For the British government, it became the perfect excuse for war. The Qing dynasty believed it was confronting traders. Instead, it was about to face the most advanced military technology on Earth. When British warships arrived along the Chinese coast in 1840, the imbalance became immediately obvious. Steam-powered gunboats moved faster than traditional Chinese naval vessels. Modern cannons shattered coastal defenses from long distances. Chinese troops armed with older weapons struggled to respond against disciplined naval assaults. City after city fell under British pressure. Ports were blockaded. Trade routes were disrupted. Panic spread through the Qing administration as military defeats mounted. For centuries, China had viewed itself as the center of civilization. Now foreign ships were forcing open its coastline with industrial firepower. The war exposed far more than military weakness. It revealed how isolated the Qing leadership had become from the rapidly industrializing world outside its borders. While Britain had spent decades expanding naval technology, industrial production, and global logistics, Qing officials still believed foreign traders could be controlled through older imperial systems. They were wrong. In 1842, the Qing dynasty sued for peace. The result was the Treaty of Nanking, one of the most humiliating agreements in Chinese history. China was forced to pay massive financial penalties, surrender the island of Hong Kong to Britain, and open multiple ports to foreign trade. The balance of power had changed permanently. But the damage did not stop there. The treaty became the beginning of what China later called the Century of Humiliation. Other foreign powers quickly demanded similar privileges. Internal rebellions exploded across the empire in the following decades. Corruption deepened, economic pressure intensified, confidence in the Qing government continued collapsing, and the opium trade itself never truly disappeared. By the second half of the 19th century, millions of Chinese citizens remained addicted, while foreign influence expanded deeper into the empire's economy and politics. The system that once projected stability across East Asia was now struggling to survive against both internal chaos and foreign pressure. The most devastating part of the story was the irony. Britain had originally entered the trade because it desperately needed a way to pay for Chinese goods. But the solution it created destabilized an empire, reshaped global politics, and triggered consequences that still influence relations between China and the West today. In the end, the Qing dynasty was not destroyed in a single battle. It was weakened slowly, through addiction, corruption, economic pressure, and a war that proved the old world was colliding violently with the industrial age. And by the time the empire understood how much had changed, the tide had already turned against it.